You stand in the doorway of the wooden building, the threshold beneath your boots still warm from the day's sunlight trapped in the boards. Outside, the plateau stretches flat and unbroken in every direction, pale earth, the colour of bone under starlight. The air is so cold it tightens the skin of your face, and you feel the heat from the laboratory behind you pressing against your back, trying to follow you out into the night. Above, the stars. So many stars. More than you have ever seen, even in the clearest nights over the Adriatic. They do not twinkle here. They burn steady and white, geometric points fixed in a darkness that feels like depth, like falling upward. The Milky Way is a river of light, dense as cloud, and you can see the structure of it, the lanes and clusters, the architecture of distance. To the west, the mountains rise as a serrated edge against the sky, black on black, but you can trace their outline by the absence of stars along that line. The peaks hold snow already. You saw it gleaming in the afternoon sun. Now, they are only shape, only the suggestion of mass. The plateau is silent. No wind tonight. No sound of animals or insects. Just the faint hum from the dynamo inside the laboratory, a low vibration you feel more than hear. One window glows behind you, a single rectangle of amber light against the dark wall of the building. Oil lamp on the workbench. You left it burning. The glass is old, slightly warped, and the light through it bends and softens. From out here, it looks impossibly small, impossibly fragile. A single human mark on a landscape that has never needed one. Your breath rises in front of your face, visible as vapor for a moment before it vanishes. The cold begins to settle into your shoulders, your neck. You turn. The doorway is darker than the plateau, the interior of the laboratory, a well of shadow around that one lamp, but you can hear it now. The tick of cooling metal, the soft hiss of a vacuum tube somewhere on the bench, the creak of wood adjusting to the temperature. You step back, across the threshold. The warmth meets you like water, and the door closes behind you with a sound that does not carry. Inside, the instruments wait. You step inside and pull the heavy wooden door closed behind you. The latch catches with a soft wooden click, and the night is gone, sealed away on the other side of the planked wall. Inside, the air is different, warmer but not warm, still holding the cold of the plateau beneath its surface, but softer now, enclosed. The smell comes first, pine resin from the raw boards of the walls, the sharp metallic bite of ozone lingering from the afternoon's work. It catches in the back of your throat, familiar, almost sweet. You breathe it in slowly, letting it fill your lungs. The air thick with it, the ghost of lightning that arced through this space hours ago, still present in every breath. Beneath that, the smell of lamp oil, clean and steady, burning in the glass chimneys along the workbench, and the mineral scent of copper, cold metal, coils and wire, and the frames of instruments. You can smell the dust too, fine and dry, settled on every surface, the kind of dust that belongs to high places, where the air is thin and the earth is close to the sky. Your fingers are still cold from outside. You flex them, feeling the stiffness in the joints, and you stand for a moment just inside the door, letting your eyes adjust to the dim golden light of the lamps. The space is large, larger than it seems from outside, the ceiling high and shadowed, wooden beams overhead, and along the walls the shapes of your instruments, Tall coils wound with copper wire, the long arm of the magnifying transmitter. Silent now, waiting. The floorboards creak softly under your weight as you shift, the sound small and contained, swallowed by the room. You can feel the difference in your chest already, the way your breathing slows, no longer pulling against the wind, no longer tightening against the cold. The air here is still, held, and you are inside it now, inside the work, inside the night that belongs to you alone. You unbutton your coat slowly, your fingers clumsy, and let it slide from your shoulders, hanging it on the peg beside the door. Your shirt sleeves are thin, but the cold is already loosening its grip, giving way to the quiet warmth of oil flame and the residual heat of the machines. You take another breath, deeper this time, tasting ozone and copper and pine, and you turn toward the workbench where the real night will begin. You cross the floor in 4 strides, your boots soft against the wooden planks. The workbench waits along the east wall, a long plank of Douglas fir worn smooth in the center, where your hands have rested night after night. You place your palms flat against it. The grain runs lengthwise, raised just enough to feel the pattern under your skin, darker wood showing through the pale where oil from your fingers has marked the paths you return to. Your left hand finds the edge where the wood meets the metal frame of the transmitter coil. The junction is cool, precise. Your right hand moves to the notebook, its leather cover soft and slightly warmed from the lamp beside it. You open it. The pages fall where they will, showing yesterday's calculations in your own angular script. The ink is black, the numbers small and certain. You touch the edge of the page, paper made from cotton, thick enough to hold the pressure of your pen without bleeding through. You turn to a fresh sheet, blank, waiting. The pen rests in its tray, a simple fountain pen with a silver cap. You lift it. The weight is exact, balanced. The metal cool in your fingers. You uncap it. The nib catches the lamplight, a tiny bright point. You set it down again. Not yet. The headphones lie coiled beside the notebook, their cord wrapped loose. You reach for them. The band is steel wrapped in leather, dark brown, cracked slightly where it bends. You lift them. They are heavier than they look. The weight of the copper coils inside the earpieces, the magnets, the delicate diaphragms that will translate electrical impulses into sound. You hold them in both hands. The leather of the band is cool. You press your thumb against it. The crack in the leather catches at your skin. You bring them to your head. The band settles over your crown, the familiar pressure. The earpieces rest against your ears, not quite touching yet, a space between metal and skin. You adjust them. The right earpiece shifts forward slightly. The left presses closer. Now they cup your ears. Soft pressure. The world outside narrows. The hiss of the lamp recedes. The creak of the wooden walls fades. What remains is the faint static that comes through the wire, the baseline hum of the circuit. You rest your hands on the workbench again. The wood is solid, real. Your fingers spread. The grain runs beneath them. Your shoulders settle. Your spine lengthens. You are seated now, though you do not remember lowering yourself onto the stool. The lamp burns beside you. Its glow falls across the notebook, the pen, the coiled wires. The instruments wait in their places along the bench, dials with glass faces, copper terminals, the tall cylindrical capacitor wrapped in wire, each one a tool, each one an ear turned toward the night. You breathe. The air is cool in your throat. The ozone smell has faded here at the bench. What remains is wood and metal and the faint scent of lamp oil. Your hands rest, your ears wait. The night is long. The work is ahead. You are ready. You place the headphones over your ears and the world narrows. The leather cups settle against the sides of your head, warm now from your skin. The steel band presses gently at your crown. Outside sounds fade, the creak of the building, the distant wind, the small movements of your own body against the stool. All of it recedes behind the soft barrier of leather and your own flesh. What remains is closer, more immediate. The faint hiss that lives inside the circuit, a texture like sand sliding over metal, continuous, neither rising nor falling. You breathe. The sound of your breath is louder now, contained inside the small space between your face and the inner surface of the cups. In through your nose, a soft rush. Out through slightly parted lips, a whisper against the air. You adjust your position on the stool. The wood beneath you is hard, familiar. Your spine straightens. Your hands rest on the workbench. Palms down, fingers spread. The grain of the Douglas fir runs beneath your right palm, lengthwise, a pattern you know without looking. The hiss continues. You listen into it, not for it, but into it, the way you would look into deep water. The sound has layers. The top layer is bright, almost white, a scatter of small sounds like grains of rice falling on tin. Beneath that, a lower frequency, darker, a soft rushing like distant water or wind through a narrow gap. You tilt your head slightly to the left. The right earpiece presses closer. The sound shifts, not in pitch but in presence, as though the source has moved a fraction of an inch. You straighten again. The symmetry returns. Your left hand moves across the bench. Your fingers find the dial of the coherer without looking. The knob is brass, ridged around its edge for grip. You turn it. 1/4 rotation clockwise. The resistance is smooth, precise. Inside the headphones, the hiss changes. A new frequency enters. Higher, thinner. It weaves through the static like a thread through cloth. You stop turning. Your fingers rest on the knob. You wait. The sound breathes. Not literally. There is no breath in copper wire and glass tubes. But it seems to breathe, expanding and contracting in slow cycles. You feel more than hear. You close your eyes. The darkness behind your eyelids is complete. Now there is only sound, the hiss, the thread of higher frequency, and beneath it all, so low you are not certain it is real, a pulse, regular, measured, like a heartbeat slowed to half speed. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds between each beat, or perhaps it is not a beat but a gap in the static, a place where the sound thins and you can hear the silence underneath. You open your eyes. The lamplight is dim, a small orange glow to your left. It does not reach the headphones, does not enter the sound. Your right hand lifts from the workbench. You touch the wire that runs from the headphones down to the receiver terminal. The insulation is cloth wrapped around copper, smooth and slightly stiff. You follow it with your fingertips, down to where it connects. The terminal is a brass screw, tight, correct. The wire does not move. Everything is in place. The circuit is whole, transmitter to air to receiver to wire to headphones, to your ears, to the space inside your skull where sound becomes meaning. You breathe again, slowly. The sound of your breath mingles with a hiss. You listen. The pulse continues, steady, patient. Neither approaching nor receding, simply there, a rhythm in the noise. You do not move. Your body is still. Your hands rest, your eyes half closed. The night outside is vast and cold and silent. Here, inside the leather cups, inside the circuit, inside the act of listening, the world is small and filled with sound. You wait. The pulse waits with you. 5 seconds, and again. 5 seconds, and again. The instruments hum their soft electric hum. The coherer tube glows faintly on the bench beside your notebook. The pages are still blank. The pen still rests in its tray. You will write soon. You will mark what you hear, but not yet. Now, there is only the listening. The slow, patient work of separating signal from noise, presence from absence, message from silence. Your fingers rest on the brass dial, and the metal is warm now from your touch. You do not turn it. The frequency is correct. The alignment is true. You listen, the static flows. The pulse marks time. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. The mountains outside hold their watch. The plateau spreads dark and empty in all directions. Your laboratory is a single point of light and sound in the enormous night. And you, inside the headphones, inside the narrowed world of listening, you are the ear through which the night speaks, if it speaks at all. The hiss continues. You breathe. You wait. 3 pulses, soft, distinct, arriving through the hiss like footsteps crossing a field of static. You sit very still, your hand resting on the edge of the workbench, the pencil between your fingers. The headphones press against your ears, leather padding warm from hours of wear. The first pulse, then silence, then the second, silence again, then the third. Each one arrives with the same interval, the same duration, as if measured by a clock somewhere far beyond the plateau. Your pulse quickens, a tightness beginning in your chest, spreading upward into your throat. You do not move. You wait. The coils hum their low, steady note behind you, and the oil lamp flickers once, casting your shadow across the scattered papers. The static continues, that endless ocean of sound, and beneath it, there, again, 3 pulses, the same spacing, the same rhythm. Your breath catches, held, suspended, as if releasing it might disturb the signal, might break whatever fragile thread connects this instrument to its source. Your hand moves to the notebook, not looking, your fingers finding the page by memory alone. The pencil touches paper. You write the time. 11:47, then the interval, approximately 2 seconds, then the number 3. The pulses come again. You feel your heartbeat now, insistent against your ribs, faster than the signal, irregular where the signal is perfectly measured. The tightness in your chest deepens. Not quite pain, not quite excitement. Something older than either. Your left hand presses flat against the workbench, feeling the grain of the wood, the coolness of the varnish, anchoring you. The signal repeats. 3 pulses, 2-second intervals. It does not waver. It does not fade. Behind you, the transmitter's transformer hums its constant tone, 60 cycles per second, as predictable as breath. But this is something else, something arriving from a direction you cannot name. You write again. 11:49. Pattern continues, no variation. The pencil trembles slightly in your grip. Your breathing shallow now, careful, as if you are in the presence of something easily startled. The mountains outside hold their enormous silence. The laboratory's wooden walls creak in the cold, and through the headphones, steady as a metronome, the pulses arrive. You close your eyes, listening not just with your ears now, but with the whole of your attention, feeling the signal as a physical presence, a rhythm imposed upon the chaos. Your pulse beats against it, trying to synchronize, failing. The tightness in your chest becomes a kind of pressure. Wonder pressing inward, uncertainty pressing outward, both occupying the same space beneath your ribs. You open your eyes. The notebook page is covered with numbers, times, intervals, observations in your cramped handwriting. The signal continues. 3 pulses. The same. Always the same. You set the pencil down. Your hand shakes, just slightly. You press both palms flat against the workbench, feeling the solidity of the wood, the vibration of the transformers traveling through the frame, and still the pulses come, measured, patient, waiting for you to understand what they mean. You remove the headphones, the leather padding warm against your palms, and the signal vanishes behind you into silence. The room expands, sound returning, the low hum of the transformers, the creak of wood settling in the cold, the faint whistle of wind finding gaps in the wall boards. You stand, your legs stiff from hours at the bench, and cross the planks toward the center of the laboratory. Your footsteps echo softly against the high ceiling, each step deliberate, placing your weight carefully as if the floor itself were listening. The magnifying transmitter rises before you, its wooden frame anchored to the floor with iron bolts, copper wire wound in spirals that climb upward into darkness. The primary coil at the base is as thick as your torso, heavy gauge wire wrapped tight around the wooden cylinder, each turn catching the lamplight, glowing dull orange where the flame reaches, vanishing into black where the shadows gather. Above it, the secondary coil rises, thinner wire, hundreds of turns, thousands. You have forgotten the exact count, winding upward in a perfect helix that narrows as it climbs. The lamplight cannot follow it. At 6 feet, the wire becomes suggestion. At 10 feet, it is only geometry. The shape of the spiral implied by the lowest visible turns. You stop at the base, one hand resting on the wooden frame, feeling the grain beneath your palm. Oak, solid, braced with iron. The frame is warm, not hot, but warmer than the air. Vibration traveling through it from the transformers below. A hum you feel more than hear. 60 cycles, steady as a heartbeat. Your eyes follow the spiral upward, turn after turn, each one parallel to the last, separated by a gap so small you could not slide a knife blade between them. The precision of it, the care, weeks of your hands guiding the wire, measuring, adjusting, your fingers cramped at the end of each day. The coil casts shadows across the floor, long black lines radiating outward from the lamplight like spokes, falling across workbenches, tools, coils of spare wire, across your own legs where you stand. The shadows move slightly as the lamp flame wavers, the lines stretching, contracting, the geometry breathing. You tilt your head back, looking up into the darkness where the coil's apex must be, somewhere near the ceiling beams. You cannot see it. only the suggestion of height, the way the visible turns grow smaller as they rise, vanishing into shadow like a ladder climbing toward nothing. This is what you have built, this column of wire and wood and empty space, this antenna reaching upward into the vast night, listening. The signal came through this, travelled down through these spirals, each turn adding to the next, amplifying, magnifying, until it reached the headphones pressed against your ears. You feel the scale of it now, standing beside it, your hand on the frame, the transmitter towering above you. The room seems smaller, the walls closer, as if the coil has displaced the air, pushed the boundaries inward. Your breath is shallow, not from exertion, from proximity, from standing beside something that reaches beyond the wooden roof, beyond the plateau, touching the cold altitude where the air thins and the stars press close. The lamplight flickers. Your shadow shifts across the floor, and the coil rises, silent, patient, wound with your own hands, waiting to receive again what came before. 3 pulses, measured, deliberate, arriving from a distance you cannot name. The frame hums beneath your palm, the wire spirals upward, the shadows hold their shape, and you stand, looking up into the dark, feeling the height of what you have made, feeling the immensity of what it might be touching. You kneel at the base of the secondary coil, the floorboards cold and hard against your knees. The adjustment screw waits under your fingertips, brass gone dull in the lamplight, etched with the fine scratches of use. You fit your thumb and forefinger around the head, feeling the hexagonal edges press into your skin. The metal is cold, almost wet with the night's chill that seeps through the wooden walls. You turn. The screw resists, threads biting into their housing, and you feel the resistance travel up through your wrist into your forearm. The wood of the coil mount creaks, a sound like an old ship settling, and the tension shifts fractionally beneath your hand. You turn again. The brass warms slightly under your grip, taking heat from your fingertips, and you feel the ridges of the threads as they move, one rotation, then another. Your knees ache where they press against the grain of the floorboards, the wood uneven, worn smooth in some places and rough in others. A splinter catches the fabric of your trousers but does not break through. You turn the screw a quarter rotation more and pause, listening. The coil above you is silent now, waiting. The copper wire wound in perfect spirals that catch the lamplight like frozen water. Your wrist tightens as you apply more pressure, the small muscles flexing, and you feel the exact moment when the resistance eases, when the screw seats itself properly and the whole assembly locks into alignment. You release your grip. Your fingers are stiff, marked with the impression of the screw head, and you flex them slowly, feeling the blood return. The floor beneath you is solid, unyielding, and you shift your weight slightly, feeling the pressure redistribute across your knees. You reach for the next screw, 6 inches to the left, and your hand knows the distance without looking. This one turns more easily, threads clean and well-oiled, and you count the rotations in your mind. 1, 2, 3. The wood creaks again, settling, and you feel the vibration travel through the floorboards, into your knees, into your bones. Your thumb slips slightly, and you readjust, gripping harder, feeling the knurled edge bite into your skin. The cold is deeper now, climbing up from the floor, and your knees have gone numb where they rest against the wood. You turn the screw until it stops, until the resistance is absolute, and then you back it off by a hair, a 1/16th of a turn, leaving it just loose enough to breathe. You sit back on your heels, your weight shifting, and your knees protest with a dull ache that spreads down your shins. Your hands rest on your thighs, fingers still curved from gripping, and you look up at the coil. The copper wire gleams. The adjustment is complete. The machine is ready. You place your palms flat against the floorboards and push yourself upright, feeling your knees unlock, your spine straighten, the cold air moving around you as you rise. Your hands smell of brass and oil. The workbench waits across the room, the notebook open, the pen resting in the crease between pages. You walk toward it, your footsteps solid on the wooden floor, and the familiar weight of the work settles back into your shoulders. The instrument is prepared. Now you will listen again. You stand at the bench, the notebook open before you, its pages cream-coloured in the lamplight, the left margin ruled in faint blue ink that has faded to almost nothing. Your right hand reaches for the pen, fingers closing around the smooth barrel, and you feel the slight warmth where it has been resting near the lamp's heat. The nib is steel, dark and narrow, and you hold it at the angle you have held it for 30 years. The angle that makes the ink flow without pooling, without scratching. The inkwell sits to your right, its glass body catching the light, the black liquid inside perfectly still. You dip the nib, feeling the slight resistance as it breaks the surface, and you count silently. 1, 2, letting the metal drink just enough. You lift it, watching a single drop cling to the tip, trembling there for a moment before falling back. The excess. Too much, and the letters will bleed into the paper's grain. You touch the nib to the glass rim, a gentle scraping sound, metal on glass, and the drop releases. Now, you bring the pen to the page, to the next blank line beneath yesterday's entries, and you write the date, November 14th. The ink flows dark and wet, pooling slightly at the base of each numeral where the nib pauses. Your hand moves with the precision of habit, the shapes forming without thought, and you watch the curves and lines appear as though drawn by someone else's hand. The paper is thick, fibrous, and you feel its texture through the nib, the slight resistance as the point travels across the grain. A hair's breadth. That is all that separates contact from tearing. Your wrist rests against the edge of the notebook, taking the weight, and you feel the coolness of the bench through your shirt sleeve. You write the time. 2:47 a.m., and the colon requires lifting the pen, placing it again, 2 dots perfectly aligned. The lamplight flickers once, shadow, moving across the page, and you wait for it to steady. The flame inside the glass chimney is yellow at its heart, blue at its edges, and it consumes the air with a sound too soft to hear, but present nonetheless. You continue. Tuning, 42.8 kilohertz. The decimal point is a small depression in the paper, the ink gathering there in a tiny pool before you move on. Your handwriting is compressed, economical, each letter occupying exactly the space it requires and no more. You have filled 40 notebooks this way, 40 volumes of observations, measurements, questions that lead to other questions. The pen moves down to the next line. Signal interval, 3.2 seconds. The rhythm is still in your mind, the pulse you heard through the headphones, and your hand wants to pause between words to match it, But you do not let it. You write what you heard, not how it felt. The paper accepts the ink, absorbing it into its fibers, and the wetness dulls to matte black almost immediately. The nib is running dry. You can feel the scratch beginning, the steel dragging instead of gliding. You dip again, the same motion, the same count, and you return to the page. Beneath the numbers, beneath the data, your hand hovers. The pen tip is a millimeter from the paper, close enough that you can see the ink trembling in the lamplight. A dark bead waiting. You lower it. Draw a single mark, a question mark, small, precise, the curve, the dot. You lift the pen away and the mark remains wet and questioning. The only thing on the page that is not measurement or fact. You set the pen down in the crease of the notebook, exactly where it was before, and you look at what you have written. The numbers are clean, legible, certain. The question mark is the same size as the numbers, but it carries a different weight. You flex your fingers, feeling where the pen barrel pressed into the side of your middle finger, a small indentation in the skin. The ink on the page is drying, the wetness receding, and in a moment it will be permanent, fixed. Something that existed only in the air, in electrical current in your ear, now transformed into marks on paper, into something that will still be here when the sun rises, when the cold lifts, when you are gone. You close your eyes for a moment, and behind your eyelids you see the signal again, the rhythm pulsing, and you do not know if it is memory or if some part of you is still listening. You open your eyes. The notebook waits. The laboratory around you is silent except for the faint hiss of the receiver, still on, still searching. Your hands rest on either side of the notebook, palms flat against the scarred wood of the bench. The question mark sits there in the margin of the page, unanswered. You breathe in the smell of ink and oil and ozone, and you wait. You set the pen down. The barrel rolls slightly on the bench, a small sound, wood on wood, and then it is still. Your hand lifts away, palm open, fingers uncurling, and you rest it flat against the surface, feeling the coolness of varnished pine, the faint grain beneath. The lamp flame continues its soft consumption of air, but you are no longer watching it. You sit without moving, shoulders loose, spine straight, the posture of long hours at this bench. Your hands rest now in your lap, empty. The headphones are still on your ears, the curved metal band pressing gently against your temples, the leather cups warm from contact with skin. Inside them, you hear the hiss of the receiver, white noise, the sound of electricity moving through wire and vacuum, through the coils you wound by hand in the summer when the days were long and hot. It is not silence. It is the sound of the instrument listening, the sound of attention itself. Your breathing is slow, chest rising and falling beneath the linen of your shirt, and you become aware of it now, the rhythm of it, the way the air enters cool through your nostrils and leaves warm. In, out, in, out. No urgency. Behind you, somewhere in the darkness of the laboratory, a timber creaks, the building settling as the night deepens, as the air outside drops further toward freezing. The wood contracting fibre by fibre, joints shifting in their mortices, a long, slow sound, almost a sigh. You do not turn toward it. Your eyes are open, focused on nothing, on the middle distance where lamplight fades into shadow. The workbench extends to either side of you, its surface scattered with the instruments of your work, coils, wires, glass tubes, calipers, a small brass compass, but you are not looking at them now. The hiss continues steady, unchanging, no pulse within it, no pattern, just the soft static of the universe, the background murmur of existence. You listen to it, the way you might listen to rain on a distant roof, present but not demanding. Your jaw relaxes and you feel the slight ache there, the tension you did not know you were holding. Behind your closed eyelids, when did they close, you see nothing, just the dark red of blood-lit skin. The receiver hisses, a different creak now, sharper, from the wall to your left where the wind presses against the boards. The plateau wind, thin and cold, coming down from the mountains with nothing to stop it. It finds every gap, every seam, and it whispers through them. Not the signal, just air moving through wood. You breathe. Your heartbeat is present in your ears now. Beneath the hiss, a slow, double pulse, steady as the swing of a pendulum. Lub-dub, lub-dub. The rhythm of the body, mechanical and tireless. You have not moved your hands. They rest in your lap, fingers loosely interlaced, thumbs touching. The skin of your palms is dry, cool. You can feel the callus on your right forefinger, where the pen rests when you write, the small thickening of tissue, evidence of 10,000 hours. The lamp flame dips, rises, dips again, and the shadows in the room shift accordingly, but your eyes remain closed. The question of what you heard, the rhythmic pulse, the intervals, the possibility, begins to loosen its grip, not disappearing, just softening, becoming one element among many in the larger stillness. The hiss continues. The building breathes around you. The mountains hold the night, and you sit, listening to the space between, to the quiet that is not empty, but filled with small, patient sounds, waiting, or not waiting, simply present in the unfolding of time, second by second, breath by breath. You reach forward, slowly, and your fingers find the brass knob at the base of the nearest lamp. The metal is warm from hours of burning, from the flame above consuming its careful measure of oil. You turn it a quarter rotation, no more, and the wick descends into the reservoir. The flame responds immediately, drawing down, its yellow brightness diminishing, the corona of light around it contracting. The room dims, not suddenly but in a slow withdrawal, as though the light itself were breathing out, releasing its hold on the objects it had illuminated. The coil on the bench before you, which moments ago stood clear in every detail, the copper gleam of its windings, the dark varnish between the turns, the bolts securing its base, now recedes into softer definition. The edges blur, the metal loses its sharpness and becomes a presence rather than a thing, a darker mass against the general darkness. The shadows lengthen, reaching across the floor, climbing the walls, and what was distinct becomes suggestion. The curve of a wire, the corner of a wooden crate, the vertical line where two planks meet, all of it softening, dissolving at the periphery. You withdraw your hand from the lamp and rest it on the bench. The flame reduced, no longer flickers as it did before. It holds steadier now, a smaller combustion, less subject to the currents of air that move through the room. The light it gives is gentler, pooling on the surface of the workbench in a warm, amber circle, illuminating the notebook there, the pen lying across its open pages, the scatter of small brass screws you set aside earlier in the evening. Beyond this pool, the laboratory becomes uncertain. The far wall is no longer visible. The other lamp, across the room near the door, glows in its own small sphere, but the space between the two lights is now uncharted, a territory of shadow where objects exist but cannot be confirmed. You blink, slowly, and your eyes adjust, the pupils widening to accept what little light remains, the rods in your retina awakening to their task. Shapes emerge from the darkness, not clearly, but enough to orient you. The vertical of the doorframe, the horizontal line of the shelf, the bulk of the secondary coil standing silent in its corner. Your breathing continues its steady rhythm, in and out, and with each exhalation you feel something release. Not tension exactly, but the active effort of seeing, of cataloguing, of maintaining the sharp focus that daylight and bright lamplight demand. In this reduced light, that effort is no longer required. The room does not ask to be examined. It simply is present and patient, holding its objects in gentle obscurity. The remaining lamp hums almost inaudibly, the glass chimney resonating at some frequency too low to name, and you hear it now in the quiet, a tone beneath the hiss still present in the headphones against your ears. The leather cups are warm, familiar, their weight on your skull a constant you have learned not to notice except in moments like this, when you attend to the small sensations. Your shoulders drop another degree, the muscles along your spine softening, no longer holding you quite so upright. The dimming marks something, though you do not name it, a threshold perhaps, a movement from one quality of attention to another. The instruments on the bench before you, calipers, coils, the small glass tube half filled with mercury, catch the lamplight unevenly. Here a gleam, there a dull reflection, and the pattern they make is no longer information, but simply the way light falls on surfaces in the dark. You are no longer reading the room. You are resting in it. The cold presses against the windows, against the walls, but here, in the diminished circle of lamp glow, the air is still, almost warm, preserved by the boards in the remaining heat of your presence. Your hands lie open on your thighs, palms upward, an unconsidered gesture. The hiss continues. The mountains outside are invisible now, erased by night and distance, but you know they are there, holding the plateau, holding the laboratory, holding this small point of light in the immense darkness. The flame burns on, smaller, quieter, asking less of the oil of the air, of the night. You lean back in the wooden chair and feel its support along your spine. The vertical slats press against your shoulder blades, against the small of your back. The wood cool through the thin fabric of your shirt. The chair creaks softly, a single note, and then settles. Your weight finds its distribution, hips sinking into the seat, thighs resting along the flat plane of the wood. The angle shifts, not collapse, but a slow yielding. The muscles along your spine releasing their work of holding you upright through the hours. Your shoulders drop, first the left, then the right, a small descent, gravity reclaiming what effort had suspended. The base of your skull finds a new position against the air, no longer held forward in the attitude of attention. Your chin lowers perhaps an inch, no more, and the tension in your neck, the fine cables of muscle that have held your head steady over the workbench, over the notebook, over the gauges and dials, begins to ebb. Your arms hang at your sides, elbows bent, forearms resting along the wooden armrests of the chair. The grain of the wood is smooth beneath your wrists, worn by use, by the passage of your hands over weeks, and months. Your fingers curl slightly, not grasping, simply resting in the shape the hand takes when no task requires it. The headphones remain against your ears, their leather cups warm now, the metal band across your crown, a gentle pressure you have ceased to notice, except as a presence, a constant. The hiss within them continues, that soft, static rush, but it no longer calls for interpretation. It is simply there, like the sound of wind, like the sound of your own breath. Your breathing has slowed. You feel it now. The rise and fall of your ribs, the expansion of your chest on the inhale, the slow release on the exhale. Each breath takes longer than the one before, not by effort, but by the body's own inclination toward rest. The air moves in through your nostrils, cool and thin, the altitude pressing on your lungs in a way you have come to know. It fills the space beneath your sternum and then departs, carrying with it nothing you need to hold. Your eyelids are heavy. You have not closed them, but you feel their weight, the small labor of keeping them open. The lamplight before you, that warm amber pool on the workbench, no longer demands focus. The objects within it, the notebook, the pen, the scattered components, exist without requiring your attention. They are simply shapes, distributions of light and shadow, and you let them be. The laboratory holds you. The walls around you, the roof above, the floor beneath your feet, all of it forms a container, the small enclosure against the vastness outside. You feel that vastness, not as a thought, but as a physical fact. The plateau, stretching away in all directions, the mountains rising in the distance, the cold night air moving across empty spaces. But here, in this chair, in this room, you are held. The pressure against your back, the support of the seat beneath you, the air around you still and patient. Your head tilts slightly to the left. An unconscious movement, the body finding comfort. The edge of your jaw rests against nothing, but you feel the line of it, the angle, the slight pull of gravity on your cheek. Your hands on the armrests are still. The pulse in your wrists beats quietly, steadily, a rhythm beneath the skin. You do not count it. You simply feel it, the small proof of continuation. The questions that filled the earlier hours, what the signals meant, where they originated, whether they carried intention or were merely noise, these questions no longer press. They have not been answered. They have simply dissolved, released into the larger silence. What remains is this: the chair beneath you, the lamplight, the hiss in your ears, the cold beyond the windows, the night outside holding everything in its patient vastness. You are here. Your body knows this, even as your mind begins to drift. The pressure of the wood against your spine, the heaviness in your limbs, the slow tide of your breathing, all of it anchoring you to this moment, this room, this single point of stillness in the dark. You turn your head slightly toward the window, the movement so small it barely disturbs the position your body has found in the chair. Your gaze shifts, not with intention, but with the slow drift of attention when focus no longer holds. The glass pane is before you, dark and reflecting nothing of the lamplight behind, instead offering only what lies beyond. The mountains are there, their silhouettes rising against the sky. You see them not as peaks or ridges, but as a continuous darker mass, solid and still against something lighter. The distinction is soft, no hard edge, but a gradual transition from the weight of earth to the emptiness above. The sky holds a faint luminosity. Not light exactly, but the absence of complete darkness. A quality of space that allows the shape of the mountains to exist as form. You do not trace their outline, your eyes rest without following, letting the whole of it be present at once. The stars are visible above the ridgeline, scattered points, some brighter than others, but you do not count them or seek patterns. They are simply there, suspended in the vast depth beyond the glass. The air between you and the mountains is invisible, but you feel the distance it contains, miles of cold plateau, empty space where nothing moves. The window frame divides your view into sections, dark wood verticals and horizontals, but your gaze does not fix on them. They are part of what holds the glass, part of the structure between inside and outside, but they do not demand attention. The glass itself is cool. You cannot touch it from where you sit, but you know this. The way it would feel against your fingertips if you reached forward, smooth and cold, a surface that holds the separation between the warmth of the laboratory and the night beyond. Your reflection is not visible, the lamplight behind you too dim, or perhaps the darkness outside too absolute. Either way, there is only the view outward, the mountains and the sky and the space between. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm, and with each exhale you feel something settle further. Not your body now, but something less tangible. The boundary between what you observe and what you are. The mountains do not change. They have stood through the hours you have worked, through all the nights before this one, their mass indifferent to the instruments inside, to the coils and the lightning and the signals. They are simply there, holding their form. The stillness of them enters you, not as a thought, but as a quality, the way one thing can take on the nature of another through prolonged contact. You are looking at them, but you are also becoming still in the same way. Your eyes no longer move. The small scanning motions that usually accompany seeing have ceased. Your gaze rests on the whole of the view, the dark below, and the lighter above, and the soft transition where they meet. There is no wind visible, no movement in the trees if there are trees, no shifting of clouds, only the fixed presence of earth and the infinite reach of sky. The headphones against your ears carry their constant hiss, but it no longer seems separate from what you see. Both are forms of emptiness, the static and the space beyond the glass, both continuous, both without event. Your hands on the armrests have lost their definition. You feel the wood beneath your wrists, but the sensation has become general, a pressure without location. Your body in the chair, and the chair in the room, and the room on the plateau, and the plateau beneath the sky, all of it held in the same stillness, the same patient vastness. You do not think this, you simply rest in it. The mountains outside unchanging, the stars above them fixed in their positions, and you between the lamplight and the dark, breathing slowly, your gaze soft and unfocused, the line between seeing and being seen dissolving into the cold mountain night. You close the notebook, your hand resting flat on its cover, the leather cool and smooth beneath your palm. The pages inside hold what you have written, the columns of numbers, the sketches of coil arrangements, the notes in your small, precise script, but they are no longer visible, sealed now within the closed binding, existing as weight and thickness rather than meaning. Your hand does not press down. It simply rests. The contact light. Your fingertips curving slightly to follow the edge. The notebook lies on the workbench beside the lamp, the only lamp still burning. Its flame moves almost imperceptibly. A soft, vertical shape of yellow light, wavering so slightly you could not say when the movement happens, only that it is never completely still. The glass chimney around it catches the glow, holds it, directs it downward onto the surface of the bench. The wood there shows its grain in the lamplight, parallel lines running the length of the plank, darker and lighter bands that your eyes follow without intent. The flame consumes the oil slowly, pulling it up through the wick, transforming it into light and heat and the faint smell that has been present all night. You do not think about how long it will burn, whether the reservoir holds enough for another hour or less. The question does not form. You simply know the light is here now, soft and steady, and that it will dim when it dims. The warmth from the lamp reaches your hand on the notebook, a subtle presence against your skin, not hot but gentler, the kind of warmth that encourages rather than demands. Your wrist relaxes further, the small muscles along your forearm releasing tensions you did not know they held. The workbench supports your elbow, the pressure there constant and reliable. Your other hand rests in your lap now, fingers loosely curled, the weight of it settled against your thigh. You feel your legs beneath you, solid and heavy, the chair holding them. Your feet flat on the floor, though you do not sense the floor itself, only the continuation of your body downward into a surface that does not yield. Your spine curves slightly forward, drawn by the position of your hand on the notebook, but there is no strain in it. The curve feels natural, the shape your body finds when it is no longer holding itself upright with intention. Your shoulders slope downward, their weight hanging from the structure of your collarbones and ribs. Your chest rises and falls, the rhythm so slow now that each breath seems to take an age, the pause between exhale and inhale stretching, becoming a moment of complete stillness where nothing moves and nothing needs to. The headphones rest against your ears, their presence familiar, the soft hiss they carry unchanged. It is not loud, not demanding. It fills the space the way the lamplight fills the small circle on the workbench. Beyond it, there is only the vast silence of the plateau, the laboratory surrounded by miles of cold air and dark earth, and the mountains holding their ancient positions. You do not hear the wind. No sound enters from outside. The walls of the wooden building stand between you and the night, but the separation feels thin, permeable, as though the stillness outside and the stillness inside are the same stillness, divided only by the technicality of walls. Your breathing continues, each exhale a slow release, the air leaving your body without effort. Your eyes remain open, but what they see has softened. The lamplight, the notebook under your hand, the edge of the workbench, all present but no longer distinct. The boundaries between things have blurred, not into darkness, but into a gentle uniformity of presence. You are here. The lamp is here. The night is here. And the distinction between them no longer matters. Your hand on the notebook feels the coolness of the leather and the warmth from the lamp at the same time. Both sensations true, both real, neither more important than the other. The flame burns. The oil feeds it, the light continues, and you rest. Your body held by the chair held by the floor held by the plateau held by the turning earth, all of it suspended, all of it still, the listening that has filled the night, now something the mountains do, something the stars do, something the air does, and you, part of it, breathing slowly, the lamp burning low, the final light in the vast surrounding dark.